Hello, my name is Kiara, and this is...
Fox.
And we are Drunk Otaku's Review. Today, we will be reviewing an anime called My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. It is based off of the manga and novel by Satoru Yamaguchi, and I apologize if I didn't say that right. I am trying. It became an anime in 2020. It was directed by Keisuke Inoue, written by Megumi Shimizu, and the studio was Silverlink. Now, this anime is really cute and kind of like this lighthearted anime. It's all about this 17-year-old otaku who is reincarnated as the villain character of her otame game called Fortune Lover. So, in the game, the villainess is Katarina Claes. And as a child, she hits her head and demands that this character named Prince Giardo marries her because nobody will want her with a scar. Now, in the anime, when she hits her head, she remembers her past life. And there's these little, mini characters of herself in her head that are, going over, oh crap, how can we avoid this, the doom flags that'll end to her either being killed or her being exiled. And while she's thinking over this, Prince Giardo is going over how, nobody's gonna want to marry her and all this. And they're like kids. And he's going over, he's talking about how nobody's gonna want to marry her and then asks to, be engaged to her. And she's not paying attention because she's thinking, how can I avoid death? And so when he's like, oh, we should get engaged, she's like, yes. And then he's like, okay, I'll be there I'll come back tomorrow to make an informal engagement. And she's not paying attention at all, because she's kind of a dunce. She really is. She has no idea what's going on at all in the anime 99% of the time. And so she ends up not paying attention, and the maid's like, oh, congratulations. And she's like, for what? And the maid's like, for your engagement. And then she's like, oh, crap, I already got into one of my doom flags. And the next day, she still agrees to be engaged to him. It's hilarious.
While she just got done tending a field.
Yeah, well, she just got done tending a field because she decides that if she's going to be exiled, then she's going to learn how to farm so she can take care of herself. And she also thinks that it'll help her with her rock magic if she gets more in tune with Earth.
It's Earth magic.
Yeah, her Earth magic, which literally does not help at all. Even as a teenager later, all she can do is this earth bop where she literally makes a little tiny bump.
It's literally just...
It's just a bump.
It's like a little patch of dirt just pops up.
Yeah. That's what she does. But during the anime, she goes through and she's trying to avoid all these doom flags because she doesn't want to be killed. Because, she was 17 in her past life. She doesn't want to die young again. And she doesn't want to be exiled because she's the daughter of, a noble in this new world. So she starts kind of befriending everyone. And it's really funny how she does a lot of it. So she starts befriending everyone. And it's really funny how she does it because, she gets this adopted brother named Keith. Now, Keith is, a prodigy. He does really well with earth magic, and he can make these, giant earth dolls, but he doesn't know how to control it when he's a kid. And in the game, Keith is this, really kind of lover boy. He's really kind of a little overly kind of pervy with all the main character Maria that you play as in the game. So when Keith comes to live with her, she makes him use his earth magic and then gets too close to one of the dolls and it hurts her. And when she wakes up, she finds out that Keith is locked in his room and doesn't want anyone around. So this girl, she's what, 8? They're young, 8. And
grabs the nearby halberd.
She grabs a nearby halberd because he won't let her in the room. And she's like, hey, are you near the door? If you're near the door, back up. So she breaks down the door with his halberd And then she goes on this whole speech about how she's never gonna, like, leave his side and always be his friend, whatever. And he looks at her like, oh my god, someone's gonna, they're gonna be my friend forever. And the entire time, I'm just thinking, this 8-year-old just smashed on your door with an axe, dude. Run. But it was really cute, though. And she does that with, like, a lot of different characters. Like, she befriends this girl named Mary, who's really good at, like, growing flowers, and she wants advice on how to grow her plants, because, she's...
Her vegetables.
Her vegetables, because she's farming. And her and Mary become good friends. And then she becomes friends with Giardo's brother, Alan. Now, he's his twin brother, but he's not as strong as Giardo. And he's not as...
They're not twins, but...
They are twins.
Are they?
Yeah. He even said in the anime that they're twin brothers.
Alright, well, they don't look twins.
No, they're fraternal twins. They're fraternal twins. And he's always compared to Giardo, because Giardo does everything better than he does, except for music. He's really great at music, especially piano. Piano's, like, his thing. And so when her and Mary become friends, Alan is engaged to Mary, and he gets jealous because Mary's, like, just gushing over Katarina. Like, saying how much she was, like, flattered that Katarina was, like, so nice to her and everything. So he gets jealous and, like, accuses
Her of seducing
Katarina of seducing his basically fiance. And again, they're like 8, they're children, so it's like they're really young for this. But he accuses her of doing this. So then Katarina decides to challenge him.
He challenges her.
Right. He challenges Katarina, and Katarina beats him at everything. Except...
They only do tree climbing.
Okay, Katarina beats him at tree climbing, and then they decide to do something else, which is piano. And he crushes her with the piano. And her and Giardo are both like, man, that was really, really good. And he, like, goes off saying, you don't mean that, all this. And then she, like, sits with him next to the tree that they've been climbing. And she's like, Giardo isn't, like, perfect at everything. He's afraid of snakes. And she makes him laugh. And then after that, like, he stops being this, like in the game, he's kind of this, like...
pretentious.
Yeah, he's
prick.
like this pretentious prick. But then in the anime...
That has to win.
Yeah, he has to win. He hates when anybody beats him because he wants to be better than Giardo, because he's always compared to Giardo. But in the anime, when she shows him that, like, Giardo isn't perfect because he's scared of snakes, which he thinks is just funny because she gets in trouble later... He's like, understands, oh, I don't have to compare myself to him. I'm not like him, He understands I'm my own person because of her. So already she's changing the aspects of the game. She's changing everything about the characters. But she's a dunce. So she literally doesn't understand that she's already changed the future so much that the Doom Flags are just gone. They're just gone at this point. Nobody's gonna exile her. Nobody's gonna kill her. She's becoming their friends. And then she meets Sophia Asgard. Now, Sophia she's this beautiful little girl who everybody calls cursed because she has, like, white hair and, like, ruby-colored eyes. And so everybody says she's a cursed child. But Katarina likes to read these, like...
Cursed child.
She likes to read these novels that I don't understand how parents are letting her read this, because they're, like, romance novels, and there's, like, explicit stuff in them.
They're novels, they don't get too.
True. But she's trying to find, like, somebody that she can talk to about the novels, because in her past life she had this friend called Atsu, but she calls Achan a lot, but also Atsu too. But they were best friends. They became friends when she landed on Atsu after falling from a tree, and thought that she killed her, and it's actually a pretty funny scene. But she's trying to find somebody that she can, like, talk to the way that she talked to her about, like, romance games. So she finds Sophia, and she thinks she's, like, the most beautiful girl she's ever seen, and says a quote from this book that she's reading about, like, somebody that looks exactly
it's
like
about
her.
a princess and a common girl.
Yeah, it's a lesbian novel. And so she does this, like, quote. And the girl names the book. And she's like, what, you know this book? And then they have to leave. And she's like, hey, come over to my house. Like, I want to talk about this. And Sophia, she's so used to everybody thinking that she's cursed that she's like, she goes to her brother, his name is Nicole. Or Nicole?
Nicole.
And she's like, that strange girl just invited me over to her house. So they go. And they become, like, really close really fast. And then Nicole, he loves his sister and he loves his parents. And he hates that everyone, even the adults, call his sister, like, cursed. And say that he's so unlucky. Because he's got black hair, black eyes. He's like, you know, everybody thinks he's gorgeous. But everybody thinks she's cursed. And he hates it because his sister's so sweet. And she's such a nice girl. So then to find this girl that just so fascinated with his sister and wants to be her friend and everything, it's so strange to him. So Sophia falls in love with Katerina. Nicole falls in love with Katerina. Alan falls in love with her, but he doesn't realize that he's actually in love with her until much, much later, because he gets engaged to Mary, who's also in love with Katerina, and Katerina tries to keep Alan from realizing that he's in love with her.
Tries to keep that from happening.
I said that.
You said Katerina.
No, I said Mary.
No, you said
Okay. Mary tries to keep Alan from realizing that he's in love with her because she doesn't want any more competition. She wants to be with Katerina. And she's already got Nicole, Keith is her adopted brother, Giardo, Sophia. She's got so much competition already, she can't handle her own fiance being in love with her too.
She's got a plan set out to leave the country with Katerina so they can go live together.
Yeah, she's the whole plan. But again, Katerina is a dunce, so she has no idea about. She doesn't think anybody actually is in love with her. She thinks they're silly.
She is the densest MC I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's a really dense. I mean, there's times where the characters themselves are calling her dense. And then she ends up going to the high school. Or the magic school, which is like...
Magic Academy.
It's like a magic high school.
It's Magic Academy.
Which is when the game takes place, which is where the main character, Maria, that you would play in the game, finds her love interest. And that's what will lead to her doom flag, is somebody falling in love with Maria. And so she tells Giardo straight out, her fiance, hey, you know, my scar is gone, so if you want to break off the engagement, you can. And he's like, no, I'm not breaking off the engagement. I will never break off the engagement. The scar is still there. And Giardo comes off as kind of like a little bit... sadistic. Like, the way he talks, it sounds like he just wants to, like, ravage her. Which is really kind of creepy. And Katerina has no idea. She's so dense on it, she can't even tell anything. She can't tell that her own, like, adopted brother's in love with her. She can't tell anybody loves her. It's crazy. And
she just wants to tend to her fields.
Yeah, she just wants to tend to her fields, and she's so worried about her doom flag that she can't even tell that she loves sweets. And she can't even tell that she completely got rid of every other doom flag. Except for one. And this one, she didn't even realize because her friend Atsu had told her that there was like this super secret love story you could go down, but she didn't want any spoilers. So she didn't really listen to her. And when...
There's two paths that she told her about, but she never got to experience.
Yeah. Now when she meets Maria... She immediately loves Maria because she's a great cook, and she makes Katerina sweets. They become like instant friends. She goes to her house and realizes this tragic backstory about her because she can use light magic, and that's so rare.
It's rare for commoners to
and
use
yeah, she's a commoner, so everybody thinks her mom cheated on her dad, so her dad like leaves. And Katerina, she just wants to be her friend because she's a sweet girl and she loves her cooking. So then the series is so lighthearted and just kind of silly. And then it gets a little like dark. Like you find out that her friend from her past life is reincarnated as one of the characters, and you're like, and so I started like shipping them together immediately because it shows like her friend the day that she died is missing her, and sees like the last text message and literally has this thought as, you know, I hope in my next life I can be friends with her again. So then it's like really cool and really sweet that she does get reincarnated and they're together again. But she doesn't realize that she's reincarnated like Katarina does. So hopefully in season 2 they'll build on that.
If there's season 2.
There's definitely a season 2 the way they added it. And
no, there's no guarantee.
Hopefully there will be a season 2. That is why we're making this video, to make it more popular to get a season 2. Because I cannot afford to buy the mangas. So, but there's the super secret character is actually really dark. And it makes the like last few episodes of the anime, it's still lighthearted and sweet, but it gets kind of scary because like Maria goes missing. And everybody's so upset. And then Katarina gets put into like this coma by the evil character, where he determined to make her sleep until she like died. And then so she has a dream where she's back in her old life, she's going to her school, and she's with Atsu again, and she's so happy. And then Atsu like starts appearing as the character, which is her friend now in this new life. And it's like, you know, you need to go back. Can't you hear the people that need you? And it's really emotional and beautiful and sweet. And the anime is such a good anime. Like, I love the music. The characters are so much fun. Everything about it is great. And even her maid is, like, not really in love with her, but more loves her as a mother would a daughter. Because after her, like, before she bumped her head, she was like a spoiled brat. She's the daughter of a noble, like a duke, and she's a noble child. And like she was literally complaining about this bow that she picked out because she didn't like the way it looked, even though she picked it out. So she was a spoiled brat. And then after she hits her head, she turns into a sweetheart, and everybody loves her. So then with this like darker character, he thinks that she's kind of like a fake kind of person. Like she has this underlying like reason as to why she's so nice to everyone, when in reality that's just who she is, and she's too big of a dunce to even come up with anything like conceivable as a plan. That's how dumb I mean, even her friends say even her maid says that she's a big dunce. It's kind of funny because at one point these girls try to like say that she was bullying Maria, and then all her friends come to defend her, but while they're defending her, they all say, no, she's too big of a Nimrod, or she's
too simple-minded.
She's too simple-minded. She couldn't come up with this. It's hilarious.
This is way too complicated for her.
Yeah, it's great.
She couldn't make it past the first step.
So then she's standing there like, should I be insulted or should I be thankful that they're protecting me? She doesn't even know. So then with this, like, darker character, she actually, you know, I'm not going to say who it is, and I'm not going to 100% say what, like, happens. But the way that they ended season 1, they're totally going for season 2. And the manga goes on a lot longer. Like, I've read up a little bit on what happens in the manga, but it does go on for longer, and there are other things happening. It even mentions, like, a couple love interests that she has. So, hopefully, we get a season 2. But I would highly recommend you go and watch this. You can find it on Verve, which it was originally Crunchyroll. But then Crunchyroll came together with all these other...
has its own site too, so...
Yeah, but Crunchyroll came together with all these other, like, channels. Yes, it did. Okay, then you explain what Verve is.
I'm not explaining it.
So you can find this on Verve, and it's highly worth the watch. And you'll enjoy it. It's this really cute, lighthearted, silly kind of anime. It gets a little dark, but not like too overly dark. So if you don't like dark stuff, you'll still be fine. It's really cute. It's really good. And we highly recommend that you go watch it.
The art style is amazing.
Yeah, the art style is great. The music's cute. It's a great anime. I mean, it really is such a cute little anime. And you never know, like, you know that she's already changed the story. But then with season 2, you don't know what's going to happen in season 2 because the game was basically just season 1. Everything she played would happen in season 1. So, I would highly recommend you go and watch it. This has been Drunk Otaku's Review. Have a good day.